Why are Korean men obsessed with beauty? In South Korea, your face isn't just your face, it's a spec, a product specification. And right now, Korean men are spending billions to upgrade their hardware just to survive the job market. 26 million men, about 0.5% of the global male population, account for roughly 10% of the world's male skincare market. They're punching 17 times above their weight. This is a $13 billion industry built on 4 social forces that turn appearance into economic survival. I'm John, and I spent 5 years in South Korea watching this unfold. Male students showed up to my high school classes wearing foundation and eyeliner. At first, I thought it was an anomaly. It wasn't. It was the leading edge of a cultural transformation. This isn't about vanity. It's about historical philosophy, brutal economic pressure, industrial engineering, and government strategy. In the next few minutes, we're breaking down exactly how Korea created the world's first mass male beauty culture, and why it's spreading to your country right now. The twist? The flower boy isn't new, he's the peacetime normal, making a comeback after decades of suppression. And that comeback didn't happen by accident.
My mom bought me this.
Today, Korean men use an average of 7 cosmetic products regularly. The Korean male grooming market is worth $1.2 billion, growing at 11% annually. Nearly double the global average share at 31% compared to the typical 15 to 20%. Simply put, it's mainstream. The aesthetic driving all this? The Koreans call it 꽃미남, flower boy. The term emerged from the late 1990s from girls' comics. Today, it's evolved into chaosangpum, a blend of handsome and pretty. The look is tall, pale skin, pouty lips, sculpted nose bridge, flawless glass skin, lean but defined. This is Korea's dominant male beauty standard. But BTS isn't the beginning of the story. To understand why a pretty boy can be a national icon, we need to look at a 2,000-year-old philosophy that says your face is a mirror of your soul. And these roots didn't start in Korea. Since the Han Dynasty, China's idea of a real man was about brains over bronze. They valued the scholar, someone who's refined and gentle, more than the warrior. Being handsome wasn't about being tough, it was about looking smart and composed. Late Ming and Qing novels idealized beautiful, gentle male protagonists. During the Han Dynasty and the Tang Dynasty, China exported this Confucian system to Korea. Korea took these ideals and perfected them through the Sunbi, a virtuous Confucian scholar. And according to Neo-Confucian philosophy, the body is treated as morally significant. Not vanity, but expression of inner virtue. Your experience reflected your character. The ideal man wasn't a warrior, he was a scholar. While the West prized tough guys, Korea prized smart guys. Being handsome meant looking clean, calm, and educated. And we find this Confucian influence across the strait. Japan's Heian period featured male beauty standards nearly identical to female ideals. White powdered skin, small eyes, thin facial hair. Here's what most people miss. Both masculinities, the macho warrior and the refined scholar, have existed throughout East Asian history. They ebb and flow. In wartime, societies amp up warrior masculinity. In peacetime, refined scholarly aesthetics dominate. Ancient Greece and Rome showed the same pattern. Sparta promoted pure warrior masculinity, while Athens prized oratory and intellectual refinement. Korea followed the same cycle. The country's 1960s to 80s military masculinity wasn't some deep-rooted Korean tradition. It was Korea's Sparta moment, a post-Korean War exception that interrupted centuries of scholarly ideals. But this didn't appear overnight. To understand how we got here, we need to trace 3 distinct eras of Korean masculinity. And in less than a generation, Korea went from valuing the book to valuing the boot. Between the 60s and 80s was the rough masculine era. Park Chung-hee's military coup in 1961 militarized Korean life. Mandatory conscription created a proverb: you become a man once you go to the military. If you want to see what this looked like, watch Old Boy from 2003. Choi Min-sik's character embodied that rough, violent, macho masculinity that defined this era. From the 90s to the 2000s was a pivot where 4 changes happened at the same time. Democratization in 1987 ended military regimes. The 1997 Asian financial crisis shattered the traditional breadwinner role. Japan's culture ban was lifted in 1998, and Bishonen manga aesthetics spread, depicting sweet, sincere, passionate men. Then came the K-drama Winter Sonata in 2002. Hae-jun played a gentle, impeccably groomed intellectual. The show created a pan-Asian soft masculinity trend with a nearly $3 billion economic impact. From the 2010s to now, K-pop going global accelerated everything. Korean men now spend 4 times more capita on skincare than any other country. Netflix and YouTube became major distribution channels, with Netflix investing in 2023 $2.5 billion for over 4 years of Korean content. Beyond K-dramas, manhwa webtoon and Korean anime-style content have begun capturing market share from traditional Japanese manga and anime, particularly among younger Asian audiences. Every K-drama, every idol appearance, every viral skincare routine video, they all feed the same ecosystem. The flower boy going global. But there's something we haven't talked about yet. While the government tried to stop appearance-based hiring, they left one massive loophole open, and it actually made the problem worse. We'll get to that in a minute. The critical shift happened in 1997. That's when the Asian financial crisis hit. And looking like a refined scholar stopped being about virtue and started being about survival. That 1997 crisis restructured the entire economy and masculinity along with it. Lifetime employment vanished, competition intensified. Your appearance wasn't just about virtue anymore, it was your competitive edge. And quick plug, if you enjoy these sorts of Asian cultural deep dives, don't forget to sub. Since the late 80s, Korea transitioned from an agriculture and manufacturing labor-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. White-collar workers visibly earned more than blue-collar workers. Visual presentation became class signaling. You can't bother looking good working in a factory, but you can definitely look good as a salaryman. This is why appearance stopped being about cultural virtue and became pure economic calculation. In 2016, over 9 out of 10 Korean companies required photos on job applications, and they asked a whole bunch of personal questions that'll incur HR's wrath in the West. President Moon proposed banning photos from public sector applications in 2017. This led to the Blind Hiring Act of 2019, which still allowed photos, but banned requesting non-job related information, including about physical appearance, and this is for large employers with 30+ employees. Problem solved? Not quite. Job seeker photo studios are still thriving. Imagine you're a job seeker in Seoul. You walk into Woori Tongnae, a studio that's been operating since the 1950s. You don't just get a passport photo, you get a rental suit off the rack. A makeup artist adjusts your face, multiple backgrounds, same-day digital editing that smooths your skin and sharpens your jawline. You walk out with a version of yourself that's been professionally optimized for hiring algorithms and HR managers. The cost? 5만 won to 7만 won for the basic shot. That's $30 to $50. Add hair and makeup, that's another 5만 won. Their marketing pitch is this: having your job application photo taken here increases your chances of getting hired. The problem is there's still a legal loophole. ID-style photos are still perfectly legal for identification purposes. About 4 out of 5 Korean job seekers believe looks affect employment, and 2 out of 5 experience appearance-based discrimination when applying for jobs. The human cost is severe. A study tracking nearly 3,000 young Koreans found that those experiencing repeated appearance discrimination had 3.7 times higher odds of poor health outcomes. The phrase Lookism, weaponized, in Korean literally translates to looks over everything. If millions of men suddenly need to upgrade their appearance to get a job, you don't just have a trend, you have a massive market opportunity. And Korea built 3 specific engines to monetize that desperation. The Korean beauty industry is like a giant machine with 3 main engines that all power each other. The first engine is the K-pop machine, which effectively turns humans into products. Debuting a single K-pop group in 2025 costs upward of $7.5 million before they even perform. That investment doesn't just buy a polished performer, often it buys something much darker. We'll see the receipt for that in a moment. These trainees spend anywhere from 2 to 10 years being physically and professionally transformed. When a company decides a trainee needs surgery, the company pays for it as an investment. Scouts don't just look for talent. An attractive person is a basic requirement. And like any product line, the industry engineered specific models to sell to different market segments. You have the flower boys, that's softer, aesthetic, with sleek physiques and charming personas. Then you have the beast idols, the rugged, traditionally masculine builds with intense makeup and powerful bad boy vibes. Within those categories, they've engineered 5 specific persona archetypes to capture every possible fan obsession. Every aesthetic choice is a calculation. The $7.5 million doesn't just manufacture performers, it often manufactures a psychologically fractured human being. BTS's Suga spoke openly about depression and OCD. His alter ego Agaste's lyric says, "On the other side of the famous idol rapper stands my weak self. It's a bit dangerous." Psychologist Ji-Hyung Kim puts it bluntly, in most entertainment agencies, idols are treated more as commercial tools rather than humans. Korea's suicide rate is 26 per 100,000, highest in the developed nations. While appearance pressure isn't the sole cause, the relationship between lookism and poor mental health outcomes is well documented. I cover the suicide rates in Korea in depth in this video here, so check it out if you're interested. This is the dark side of the first engine. Along with manufacturing stars, it also manufactures pressure. But K-pop only creates the demand. The second engine, K-beauty, is what monetizes that demand at a global scale. Korean beauty companies looked at a market where women already spent heavily and asked, what if we could monetize the other half of the population? In 1996, Amore Pacific launched Odyssey, Korea's first premium men's skincare brand. They weren't creating demand from scratch since the cultural foundations already existed. To keep this engine running, Korea built a massive research infrastructure. They have universities with dedicated cosmetics programs like Incheon National's Cosmetic Science and Management or Sungkyunkwan's Biocosmetics program. And side note, Korea has specialized universities for everything. They even have one specializing in fried chicken. That hyper-specialization is why they're so competitive. Amore Pacific alone invests 3% of its revenue into R&D, with over 500 researchers worldwide. This is serious science backing a $13 billion business. And K-beauty has amazing synergy with the first K-pop engine. BTS's Jin became Laneige's first male global ambassador in September 2024, and the brand saw a 127% Black Friday sales surge. NTC's Gino shot a single pictorial for Apeu in February 2025, and social media searches spiked 357% year over year. Put together, they're a marketing machine. The third engine is the plastic surgery industrial complex. While the K-pop engine sets the standard and the K-beauty engine provides the maintenance, plastic surgery offers the permanent transformation. Seoul's Gangnam district alone has over 400 surgery clinics, earning its nickname, the Beauty Belt. While the gender distribution is still 3 women to 1 man, the male segment is the fastest growing part of the market, growing more than 50% in the last decade. Korea now performs 13.5 cosmetic procedures per 1,000 people, the highest rate in the world. In the wealthy districts of Gangnam and Apgujeong, where 4 out of 5 of these procedures happen, around 3 in 10 of all patients are now male. K-pop didn't just create walking advertisements for a domestic audience, it became South Korea's most effective export weapon. This domestic loop was so successful that the South Korean government decided to weaponize it globally. The strategy? Export the aesthetic, and consumption follows. This is why we see such massive, deliberate state investments. In October 2024, the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, along with the Ministry of Science and ICT, launched a 600 billion won fund specifically for domestic production of movies, K-dramas, and webtoons. The Korean Film Council, which has been around since 1973, provides the training and research, while the Ministry of Culture provides the subsidies and tax incentives that help cosmetics companies go global. To make this experience tangible, the government even backed K-beauty experience centers in high-traffic areas like Myeongdong and Hongdae. Korea is now one of the only countries with a dedicated government goal to become the world's leading exporter of popular culture, and it's working. Hanreol fans now number 225 million across 119 countries, a staggering jump from just 9 million in 2012. The financial returns on this strategy are massive. Tourism is skyrocketing, breaking records. Korean cosmetics exports are around $12 billion in 2025, making Korea the world's #2 exporter globally, behind only France. In a historic shift, Korea actually became the #1 cosmetics exporter to the United States specifically, surpassing France. The United States now accounts for 55% of K-Beauty's overseas online sales. At Ulta Beauty, the largest cosmetics retailer in the US, Korean skincare sales jumped 38% in a single quarter, making it the fastest growing segment in the store. But what does this actually look like on the ground? Beyond the billion-dollar funds and industrial machines, there's a human landscape that's shifting in real time. Ask a Korean man in his 50s about male makeup, and you'll get a dismissive response. Ask his 25-year-old son, and he'll pull 3 products from his bag without hesitation. The numbers tell the same story. About 1 in 5 of Korean men in their 20s now use makeup regularly, including foundation and eyeliner. Men in their 20s and 30s account for 70% of all male beauty sales. This isn't a niche subculture, this is the mainstream. But here's what makes this generational divide even more complex than it appears. Researcher Joanna Elfing Huang found that middle-aged Korean men engaged in grooming primarily for workplace harmony, not aesthetic expression. For them, appearance is about competence and professional survival. For younger men, however, it's increasingly about self-expression and identity. Same behavior, completely different motivations. And the contradiction is stark. Mandatory military service is supposed to forge real men through traditional masculinity. 2 years of discipline, hierarchy, and physical training. And yet, 7 of 10 servicemen use cosmetics. While most armies are teaching soldiers how to clean a rifle, the Korean military is inadvertently teaching them how to clean their pores. Cosmetics brand Tony Moly saw this paradox and leaned into it. They launched Camel Cream, marketed directly to soldiers. Entrepreneur Dino Ha put it this way: all guys who went through the military, you almost become a semi-expert in beauty. The institution designed to reinforce traditional masculinity has become a beauty school. And you see this paradox in stars like Song Joong-ki. Babyface, but he can fight. He's well known from hits like Vincenzo and Descendants of the Sun. He served his mandatory military service, maintains a soft flower boy aesthetic, and plays action roles with ease. This is the modern Korean masculine ideal. Yes and, not either or. Gentle and strong, refined and tough, pretty and powerful. But not everyone is on board with this transformation. The Tao corset movement, Escape the Corset movement, emerged post-Me Too, with women destroying makeup, cutting their hair short, and publicly refusing to participate in beauty culture. They saw the flower boy phenomenon and asked, if men are now joining the beauty arms race, who benefits? The answer? Still the beauty industrial complex. And the backlash from men has been just as intense. Roughly 2/3 of young Korean men in their 20s believe gender discrimination against men is now a serious issue. The rise in male beauty expectations has fueled resentment. Both genders are feeling trapped by escalating appearance demands. And here's the nuance that most outsiders miss. Scholar Roald Malianke points out that the flower boy aesthetic may appear effeminate to non-Koreans, but to Koreans, someone who fits the ideal can certainly be considered very macho. This is a distinctly Korean form of masculine competition, where beauty becomes another battlefield for status and dominance. And Korea is a canary in a coal mine for global change. The forces driving this transformation are already on your pocket, on your feed, with filters reshaping what you think success looks like. To understand the mechanism about this, we need a framework. French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu argued that we all have different types of capital, like money, connections, and status, and that they could be traded for each other. In Korea, it's a simple conversion. You trade money for a specific look, trade that look for better networks, and trade those networks for a higher salary. There's even a phrase that captures this reality. Cosmetic surgery has become one of the 7 credentials needed for employment. And here's the vicious cycle. Once everyone upgrades, the standard rises. Your investment doesn't give you an edge anymore, it just keeps you in the game. So the return on investment actually drops, forcing even more surgery, more products, more optimization. You're on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. So what's the top look in Korea to get the best return on investment? The answer is androgyny. It's a hybrid masculinity that blends traditionally male traits like strength and charisma with traditionally female ones like gentleness, emotional expressiveness, and refined aesthetics. Just think of how the yin and yang works to achieve perfect harmony. Modern idol culture across East Asia simply modernizes these old ideals, and it's been doing it for a while. Here's what makes this phenomenon less strange when you zoom out. Men everywhere use appearance to signal status. They just use different signals depending on their environment. American gym culture emerged when men could no longer assert masculinity through physical labor, so they turned to sculpting muscles as proof of discipline and commitment. In Korea, that same discipline is expressed through flawless skin. Same game, different rules. But here's the key difference. In a diverse place like the US, every subculture has their own signs of success. But in a more homogeneous society like Korea, the rules for looking good are much more unified. When everyone's playing by the same rules, the competition becomes much more intense. So is the flower boy aesthetic turning men into women? Researcher Go Woon-jung found that this isn't actually about men becoming less manly, it's actually the opposite. Men are now using beauty as a new weapon to compete and win in a brutal economy. We look at Korea and call it a disaster. We see the pressure, the surgery, the endless optimization, and yet most of us are polishing our own specs every single day. LinkedIn profiles, gym routine, personal branding, IG stories. The platforms change, but the game is the same. And remember how the face was once a mirror of the soul, a reflection of inner virtue? That mirror still exists, but we've edited so much, filters, surgery, optimization, that we no longer recognize what's staring back. The mirror isn't showing the soul anymore, it's showing the market. The real question is, when does the investment in your appearance stop being strategic and start being survival? I want to know, have you seen spec culture growing in your own professional life? Drop it in the comments. If you like this video, you'll like this one. And please like and sub.